Yeah.
Hi, my name is Marvin Hackert. I'm with the biochemistry program here at UT Austin, and we're standing in the macromolecular crystallography facility where X-ray data is collected to determine the structure of proteins and nucleic acids. Today we're going to do a demo of self-assembly, and before we do that I just want to show some of the molecular models we've got here and point out the importance of assembly. So this is tetrameric hemoglobin. There are four protein chains, 2 alpha and 2 beta subunits. Each one has a heme group capable of binding oxygen. So separately they could each bind oxygen, but together they have the properties of cooperativity that is so important. This is an example of an enzyme that's made up of very small subunits, only 62 amino acids in size. That's really too small to be active, but it can dimerize, the same as what's shown on my shirt. And that dimer can trimerize to make a hexamer that is over 360 amino acids, creating 6 active sites, each with amino acid residues composed from 3 different subunits. Now, when we think about self-assembly, we start thinking about virus particles, and this is not a virus particle. In fact, this is the pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, made up of multiple copies of 3 different enzymes. And the E2 component in the center here is actually composed of 60 of those E2 components. So viruses is where we often think about self-assembly. And the advantage of doing this is that a virus, if this were a virus, would have nucleic acid in the center. And small viruses have around 5,000 nucleotides. That's only enough nucleic acid to code for about 1,500 or so amino acid residues. To make a shell to protect the nucleic acid in the center would require 10,000 to 50,000 amino acids. So it would take a lot more nucleic acid to accomplish that. And the way viruses do that is they take advantage of small subunits, many copies. So now we're going to demonstrate self-assembly. So here I have a little pentagon with a nice Texas Lone Star printed on the top. There's nothing special about this. I'm going to put 12 of these in this cell, and I'm going to shake them up, and nothing happens. Now the reason nothing happened is there's not complementary binding sites. On the other hand, here's another pentagon, looks a little bit like it's a 5 protein, but I've inserted magnets on the sides of opposite polarity. And this is a demo I saw many years ago by Art Olson at Scripps Laboratory, and I think it illustrates this very nicely. So you can have repulsive effects, you can have attractive effects. So let's see what happens if we place these particles in the cell and give it a little bit of energy. Not too much, not too little. If you don't do much, it doesn't do much, but if you give it a little more energy, let it sample different molecular states, and you can see it's not there yet. But give him some time. One more piece to come into place. And voila, we have a self-assembled particle, looks sort of like that, illustrating the principles of self-assembly.